Hey everybody, what's good? It's Dreamer. Time to make some samples for Pooh Shiesty. Let's go. So first things first, we're in C# minor, 140 BPM. I'm gonna pull up this piano MIDI and let you listen. So to do something like that, I'm gonna show you a bit of the idea. So I'm just gonna start out, we're gonna solo it on a new piano track. I'm just gonna bring our bass line in. So we're C# minor, so that's C, E, G sharp. And then we got ourselves A major, which is A, C sharp, and E. And then we've got ourselves B major, which is B, D sharp, and F sharp. So we got our progression down. And then what I like to do is I like to add these little top chord stabs. So I'm just gonna use the same chord. So I'm gonna go up a whole octave. And then what I like to do is I like to go down and just mess with the third of the chord, as that's going to bring like a lot of dissonance. And then once we switch chords, we do the same thing, but we use those chords instead. So you just play around with it, see what sounds good to your ear, and then you do a little bit of a top line over that. So for the top lines and stuff like that, it's all about using your ear and doing simple stuff that just sounds good and isn't clashing too hard with your main melody. So yeah, something like that, you start with the bottom, you build from the bottom bass line, build up your chords, and then build up your little pluck line, and then another easy top line. Now, you don't even have to go this complicated. You could really just do the bottom chords and the chord stabs up top, but it's up to you. You want to be creative and do what sounds good to you. So after that, we're just going to go down to our string section. I've got the basses here, Spitfire, Symphony Orchestra, free, super good. I've got it on spiccato. And I've got Native Instruments Transient Master on here, just turning the attack up and the sustain down because I want it to hit and then fade away kind of quickly. And then we can move on to the cello. We got this on spiccato still, again, Spitfire audio. We've got Transient Master again. It's super boosted on the attack. I wouldn't recommend doing this for most instruments, but I really wanted these to hit and I didn't want it to last long. So attack is super up, sustain almost all the way down, just so it cuts through right away and then fades out. So then we can move on to our pad. Now, I really like to put like something moody in the back. It's not like a super noticeable texture, but when you solo it, you see it adds so much to your melody. Now, this one's called Astral, Analog Lab 5. Again, super dope plugin, recommend. So I'm gonna open up the MIDI, and as you can see, same chord MIDI as our piano. So after that, we can move on to our bass. So after that, we can move on to the guitar section. So I have a distorted lead here. I'm going to play it, let you guys listen, and then we can kind of break it down. So for that lead, I've got it panned a little bit to the right just so it sits in the spectrum on its own. And for the amp, I've got STL Tone Hub. This is my favorite amp sim probably by far. I've got the Van Halen 4 Channel 4 high gain one on. Pretty good. Got to bump the gate really high. I'm using a vintage guitar on this, so the hiss is crazy if you don't. And I turn the gain down a little bit just because you lose a bit of clarity if it's up all the way. So you're going to want to pull it back a little bit. And you're going to be able to tell the notes you're actually playing without this like crazy distorted stuff in the back. Obviously, if you're playing metal or something, you're going to want to crank that. But for a sample like this, you want to keep it nice in the back and don't want it to stand out like crazy. Now, we'll be really lucky in this one if you can even see what I'm doing. So before I forget, we have one more pad. So yeah, we have this flute. It's called Pied Piper. It's by Lo-Fi. This is like a crazy old Omnisphere preset, but I just really liked it. I hadn't used the plugin in a little while. I was like, you know what? Let me go back, check out what I have. And there's still some sounds I've yet to discover in here. So that was good to see. On that, we just have the same chords as our piano. I'll let you hear it. And on that, to give it that super like wavy sound, I've got M Rhythmizer, which is basically just Logic's Grow Speed clone. This isn't actually a stock plugin. I bought this one. But yeah, so I have the volume gate on 16. I have the dry wet knob down like lower than 50%, just because I want it to be like a wavy thing. I don't want the gate to be all the way up. So I'm going to play with the gate all the way up, and I'll turn it down so you can see what it sounds like. So obviously this gate is too much. This is cutting away certain parts of the sound we actually want. So I'm going to pull this down to about 40%. And you can immediately tell how much wavier that is and how much cooler it sounds. So on the master now, we can show I've got a compressor, platinum analog tape. I like to use some presets and then change them a little bit. I've got it on the just regular SSL clone one because it's the cleanest out of all of them, and it punches the least. I already have everything kind of punching for me at this point, so I just want to bring it up in level. Got the threshold pulled back a little bit of makeup gain. Ratio barely on. I don't want it doing too much. I just basically am using this for a little bit of color. So if I turn this off, noticeably quieter, and it just doesn't sound as glued together. And then after that compressor, we have ourselves some shaper box. Now I have this basically like barely on. If I pull it on 100%, you're gonna be able to tell what it does right away. Of course, when you have that all the way on, it kind of doesn't sound right. It's like a little bit off. So you pull it all the way back. I got it at 5%, and you just get like a little bit of that warble, and it's so far in the back you can barely tell it's on, but it does add a nice little texture. So after that, we can go down to our EQ. For this, again, just taking away some low mids. Stuff like this that just sticks out a lot and just makes your sample muddy. We don't want any of that. All that stuff. So yeah, guys, that is the sample. Hope you all enjoyed. I'm going to do more sample beat breakdown soon. I'm going to do a poll so I can see which one you guys want. Let me know. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.